Edson Castillo, Sibongiseni Mthethwa, who's leaving, who's staying? Oswin Appollis, how is it going? Is it coming to Kaizer Chiefs? And let's also talk about why Inasio chose Kaizer Chiefs, according to him, and other things. Hello and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. I am Pilo, I am your host, and this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs. Khosi Football Club. Alright, so let's start with Sibongiseni Mthethwa. So apparently Kaizer Chiefs coach Nabi is not planning to use Sibongiseni Mthethwa, and apparently even in this game that Chiefs played, as reported by Diski Times, he was actually played as a centre back while Unjabulo Blom and Usamgelo Zwane played in midfield, and those two were replaced by Edson Castillo and Yusuf Mart. So there was no place for him in midfield, and I think the only reason why he was even played at centre back is because the other centre back, Urashun Totli, was not even there. He was on national duty with the national team. So it's clear that it does not seem like he has a place at Chiefs. So they did offer him, this is a report by Diski Times, they are saying that he was offered to Stellenbosch for on a 1-year loan, and the Stellenbosch like, nope, we do not want to sign Sibongiseni Mthethwa. And I actually want to bring an angle that some people may not know about Sibongiseni Mthethwa, right? So Unjabulo Blom is a Chiefs on a 1-year loan, right? A loan, you get me? Which means St. Louis could recall him, or if he performs well enough, St. Louis does not recall him, because last I checked, I think his contract is ending next year. But if it doesn't end next year still, there might be another team that might want to sign him in the MLS. I'm sure they'll be watching him playing at Chiefs. And I said this when I was talking to Tando. Sibongiseni Mthethwa, I mean, Jabulo Blom is too good to play in the PSL. And that's my only fear with him being at Kaizer Chiefs right now, because I know he'll perform. I know he will be incredible. But then what does that bring for Chiefs? That means he will leave, which means long term, we still would need to have a defensive midfielder. So I get why they would be wanting to ship out Sibongiseni Mthethwa on a 1-year loan, because then next year he can come back and they can see if they can renew the contract or extend his contract. But at the same time, I feel as though they should be thinking about another defensive midfielder in case Jabulo Blom leaves. I just want to put that out there, because there's a second thing, which is that Edson Castillo, we know that there was interest on him from teams like Zamalek in North Africa, right? And there was like, is he going to be sold? 30 million, blah, blah, blah. But now the plan is apparently not to sell him and to keep him, which is a sensible thing. His contract does end next year, but I'm sure Chiefs have an option to extend them. So that is, I don't want to say great and all. That is good, because we need depth. Because as I said, once again, if Blom leaves, you still need to have people who can play in that position. So we're going to decide not to be gloomy and doomy about this whole Jabulo Blom possibly leaving. But he is possibly leaving because he's that good, but not now, next year. Second thing or third thing that I want us to talk about is Inasio Miguel says something that is very interesting that made me go, that is interesting. Because they're asking him, why did you join Chiefs? And he says, if you wanted money, he wouldn't have come to Chiefs, right? Because the offers are for him up north as well. So he says that what he wants to come to, what the reason why he came to Chiefs, one, the PSL is like, it's the most, I think it's the most funded league in Africa, right? And I think it's Egypt, number 2. And those guys have more money than SA, but overall, the funding of the league, it's the PSL that has more money, and the infrastructure, the stadiums and whatnot. But on top of that, he talks about the project. And I think that is very interesting when we are now capable of signing players, because they are sold on the project. The project is good. And one of the main ways of selling the project is by having a good coach. And I think that has affected, like Chiefs getting Inasio, for example, that is affected potentially Chiefs signing Utotli, because good players want to know that they are going to a team where they are going to play. And he also wants to start the league yesterday, because he says he wants to play, which is going to be interesting, because tomorrow I'll be making a video predicting the starting 11, so stay tuned for that. By the way, while we're here, subscribers, where you at? Where you at? Khosi Nation, asenze njalo 1000 likes by the end of the video and more subscribers if you are new. Now, let's talk about the other thing that most of you came to this video for, and it's Oswin Apollis, right? Oswin Apollis, who scored a brace for Bafana against South Sudan. Beautiful performance. He showed that he is growing and getting better under Hugo Bruce, and I'm pretty sure he would just be as good, probably even better under our coach. Now, this is the story. SAPC Sport reports Umazola Mlefe that here's what happened. Polokwane City obviously wanted to sell him to Algeria, to the team by the name of MC Alka, right? So, yeah, they wanted to sell him to Algeria, but this is what happened. Last night, the 10th of September, was the closing date of the transfer window in Algeria, which means even if they cried, they cannot sign Apollis now. There is the Algerians. They cannot, which has now opened the door for Kaizer Chiefs to go back again and go sign him, right? So since they failed to make everything happen last night or before the midnight yesterday, then they opened the door for Kaizer Chiefs. And now reports circulating online, and the South African, which I don't really trust, they are saying that Chiefs has offered over 10 million rands for Oswin Apollis, and I think it's a fair deal, because to me, if you're gonna offer 20 million for Kaizer Samayo, then Apollis is also worth a lot of money, because you know, my thing is people always talk about strikers and how we need prolific strikers, but I look at between 2010, right? Between 2010 and 2024, who are the players that we talk about the most? It's not really the number 9s, is it? Yes, you have the Drogbas here and there. You have Abola Utaro, Fernando Torres. You have Haaland now starting to do that. But the people who dominated that era since 2007, in fact, was Ronaldo and Messi. And where did those guys play? They were wingers. Right now, one of the best players in Africa was Mo Salah. Where does he play? He plays as a winger. You have Riyad Mahrez. You have Sadio Mane. You have all of these good players who are playing as wingers. But now, since modern football has evolved, wingers score goals. Like we saw Apollis, he scored 2 goals for Bafana. And that's not just for me to use him, because even Umrena, Bafana, I think that other came in Plum, was the one who came on and started scoring. So football has evolved. You can get goals from your wingers, and actually it's healthier for your team to distribute goals all around the team. And I think that if we have a winger who's scoring goals and a striker who has that potential to score goals in Ranga and Duba, and you have Abomdu as well in the team, and Chiefs want a very good winger, I think even if Polokwane City at this point ask for 15 million, I'm going to say it over and over again. Pay it. Also, Apollis is only going to get better for Polokwane, and we know agents, South African agents, sometimes they just fail to think, right? And what ends up happening is they might end up extending the contract of Apollis, and it's going to be harder to get him next year. So get him now while he's 10, 15 million, rather than waiting next year and then signing him for 30 million. So that's just me, and I hope this deal materializes. But what do you guys think? Should Chiefs let Ox go, and should they be searching for Njabulo Plum? And what are your thoughts on Oswin Apollis? Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.